Once you check your tracks and your wearing plates on your blade and your blade frame and all that sort of stuff, which is your ground level checks, and obviously you've checked underneath it for any signs of leaks or anything like that, then what you want to do is you do your midway checks. Now this dozer is only accessible for the compartments from one side. On the other side, on the engine compartment, it's not accessible. A plate needs to be taken off. There is another bonnet at the back which I'll cover. Airbox intake, make sure that there's nothing in the way of that or anything like that. Check your exhaust and the exhaust guard. Now you'll see that my exhaust elbow has come off because it rotted away and I had to change it, but I am aware of it, so make sure that you are aware of it. If you did come to a machine like this, be aware of that, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to leave that exposed overnight if it's going to rain, because you don't want to get a load of water down there, okay? So what I do is I just put a hard hat over it for now until my part comes. Engine compartment, so you've got your air filter inside there. You can give that little flange a little bit of a squeeze to let some of the debris out. If it's excessive, what you need to do is undo the crocodile clips, take your air filter out, give it a gentle tap, get rid of some of the dust out of it, then gently slide it back in. I've got a gauge there to tell you when it needs to be changed as well. You've got your pre-filter, which obviously you've got your inspection bowl on the bottom of it. You want to make sure that that's not full of crap or anything like that. If it is, you undo that little valve there, make sure that you do it with the engine off, not the engine on, and just allow some of the fuel to escape into a bottle or something like that, and then close it back up. And then if you need to, just give it some, re-prime it with the priming pump there, okay? You've got your oil intake there where you put your oil in. You've got your dipstick there. Okay, I have checked this morning now and it has got plenty of oil in it. The method is take the dipstick out, give it a wipe, put it back in, pull it back out and see where it is, okay? Be careful that you don't get oil on yourself, and also ensure that you wear gloves as well when you're doing it. Make sure that there's no signs of any bird's nest or anything like that, or there's nothing which looks out of the ordinary, signs of damage, anything like that, or any additional leaks what you can see if around the turbo or around the AdBlue and all that sort of thing, okay? So just give it a visual inspection. Once you've checked that, check your AdBlue. I always check the AdBlue from the actual AdBlue tank. It's got an inspection eye on the side of it with a little orange bubble. I always go off that. I never go off the dash because it's not accurate in my opinion. So I always look at that one. Now I've topped this up with AdBlue this morning, so it is full to the brim, okay? This is not for your coolant, this is AdBlue. I've had people come before when they've been doing the pre-start checks and they've stated that this is the way you put the coolant in, okay? It's not. Open this. Side one here, inside you've got your batteries, you've got your isolator, you've got your washer, wiper tanks, and you've got your header tank there as well. You've got your inspection eye there for the hydraulic oil. Now, the colder the hydraulic oil, the more dense it is, so it's not really going to sit there. Now, there's no signs of leaks or anything like that, so I know that it's not leaking anywhere. It probably just needs to be warmed up to temperature, and I will be able to see it in there. So when I do start it up, give it a proper run, I will keep an eye on that to make sure that it's got hydraulic oil in it as well. Do not miss this. This is part of your pre-start checks when you're checking your machine over. Again, make sure there's no signs of leaks or damage or anything like that. Make sure that your battery terminals are all connected properly. They've all got a good connection. If they're inside a battery cage, make sure that they're secured within your battery cage. So on this side, you've got some more hydraulic filters. Again, just making sure that there's no signs of leaks. You've got your drain away there for your fuel tank, should you need to see if there's any condensation what's built up overnight. If you needed to do that, if you'd not filled it up at the end of the day like you should do, then my advice in the morning is to just turn that tap and make sure that some fuel comes out of it as opposed to water. If water does come out, don't be alarmed, just run it until fuel starts to come out. And make sure that you turn the tap back off as well. On the back here, you've got your hydraulic filler cap. Now, if you were going to put any hydraulic oil in there, you need to clean around the filler cap, making sure that it's clear and free of dust. Take the filler cap off and transfer the oil using clean equipment, okay? And then you've got your breather there as well for your hydraulic tank. And then on the other side here, you've got your filler cap for your fuel and your fuel breather. Inside this, as well as checking on the header tank as well, there is the radiator expansion tap cap there, is where you could also check. Now, if it's been running, you don't want to be undoing that because it was pressurized and it will blow off and burn you. So make sure that if you do check it by means of the radiator expansion tap cap there, make sure that the engine is cold. Now, this machine is a hydrostatic machine, so therefore it does not require any transmission oil. So there's no need for me to check the transmission oil on it. And then the other things to check for, obviously the obvious ones, your lights, your windscreen wipers, making sure that your cameras are clean, making sure that your flashing beacons are working and intact and there's no damage to them or anything like that. Make sure that the cab, the windows are relatively clean as well. You don't want to be operating with dirty windows, especially if you've got the sun in your eyes. Okay, so have a little bit of rag with you, make sure that you clean them. If you see signs of mud which is splattered up there from the other day from when we was working in the wet. So just give it a general once over. And once you've done that, once you've done your ground level checks and your midway checks and all that sort of stuff, the next thing what you want to do is your cab checks, function test, warm-up procedures and so on, which I'll cover now.